Welcome to the Pipeline and People podcast, powered by Versorix, the show where boutique firm leaders trade less admin for more advisory. Each week, we share actionable tactics to keep your client pipeline full and your team performing at its best. I'm your host, Jaden. Let's dive in. Today's guest is Jeff Barnett, or Jeffrey. I'm not sure what you prefer to go by.
Goes by ever.
Jeff Barnett, founder of Boston Safety and Compliance. Jeff's firm delivers OSHA training, audits, and safety culture rollouts across construction, energy, and general industry, helping thousands of workers go home safe. Jeff, great to have you. Could you kick us off with a quick look at your background and what drives Boston Safety?
Well, my background starts off, I've been in construction industry for over 20 years. I was a police officer for a while there too. So that's where my investigations and inspections come from. A lot of people get in the industry, they get into it several different ways. Either they worked in the construction industry, they got hurt, or saw someone get hurt, and they worked up the ladder. Some go to college and become a safety person going through college. Well, I kind of did a little differently. I did work in the construction industry, and the gentleman that was my safety consultant or my safety guy at one of my businesses kind of put the seed in my head to become a safety guy. I was working on a degree, so I went and decided to pick up another degree. So I have actually 5 degrees, one being a master's. I do have a degree in safety, and I have a lot of experience with just the on-site experience and then turning around and getting all the education. I have almost 30 different certifications from OSHA so that I understand a little bit more than just going to college. My experiences, my certifications, and my education allows me to be more advanced than most of the people that do what I do.
Wow, that's incredible.
Thank you.
It's a lot of certifications. Can't imagine. Yeah, I'm sure we have very different reactions to the videos on social media of people violating OSHA.
Oh, yeah. People have a tendency to send me a lot of them because they know who I am. If people didn't do stupid stuff, I wouldn't have a job, to be honest with you. The people that want to know, the people want to learn, I can teach them. We want to keep you safe. I don't want to make your job harder. That's the thing is a lot of safety guys come out here and it's, hey, it's my book tells me you're doing it wrong. I don't have that approach. My approach is to talk to them. Show me what you do. I have a case there where I walked into this guy, 30 plus years a machinist. It wasn't my first machine shop that I worked. And the first thing I said to him, tell me what you do. He goes, I'm a machinist. I said, well, that's good. Now tell me what you do. And he finally realized what I was saying to him. And he actually showed me, not in detail, but showed me what he did. So that way, when I teach them, I have more understanding of what they really truly need. I'm not just reading from a PowerPoint. I'm not just reading from a book saying, hey, this is what you should do. If you got a good safety person, they're going to talk to you and they're going to help you learn what you need to learn, not just, hey, here's the information, absorb it the way you think you should absorb it.
Makes sense. So the roadmap for the next kind of 20 minutes is going to be, we're going to cover a few themes, why capable owners kind of resist niching, hidden costs of staying too broad, turning the lens inward, how do you make niche decisions for growth, and then a low risk path to kind of test a niche for this quarter. And then we'll wrap up with a quick rapid fire. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. So let's dive right in. First question I want to ask is, what would you consider to be your niche? Do you classify that as your service because it is quite specific, or is there a specific group of people that you target?
Primarily target construction, but I do manufacturing. I do oil and natural gas. Most people in my industry will niche just one of those, but I kind of have both sides. So that would be my niche there. Safety industry itself is kind of a niche place to be, but most people will go either construction, and some will even go into the paperwork side. That's the only side I don't like. I can do it, but I'm not as good as, say, someone coming out of college. They love to do that, all the paperwork, make sure they're in compliance with the paperwork. That's a big niche that needs to be used and utilized. I just don't do that as much.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Is it kind of fear of revenue loss, like loyalty to legacy clients, or a kind of psychological need for variety that you think these people aren't?
Wow, what a great question. That's a tough question to answer. It's simple, but it's not. It depends on each person. A lot of people think it's not cost effective. They think I'm going to slow them down, or they just don't think they need me. I've heard that. But most of the time, it's because they don't think it's going to be cost effective. It's going to cost them way too much money. What they don't realize, it costs a little money up front, but in the long run, it's going to save them hundreds of thousands of dollars over a short period of time. I'm going to save them money, either insurance or workers' comp. one workers' comp, even just going to a clinic, no matter where you're at, I don't care if you're on the East Coast, West Coast, I don't care if you're in Toronto, I don't care if you're in British Columbia, you just go to a clinic, and that's not even a hospital clinic. It's going to cost you $5,000 just to pay for that because you don't want to your workers' comp to pay for that. So you'll pay for it out of pocket. That's $5,000 you lost it. You could have saved if you just followed the right policies and procedures. I'm not even
And
sure if that answered your question, to be honest with you, but I'm hoping
it
that
does, it
did.
does. Yeah, yeah. Have you always been both kind of avenues, or when you started out, were you more specific in your targeting?
Well, the unfortunate part was most people come out of college, they go and work for a big company. My deal was that the gentleman that got me into it, he left one company and started his own. And what he did was he set me up because he knew about the time he was going to leave, as I was going to be finishing school. So he just took me and he was already, and he set me down the line of working with manufacturing and construction. And then after a while, he kind of got me to do a lot of research. And long story short, I basically got in the oil and natural gas so he could build his company up.
Okay. Has casting a wide net felt, safer, or like what's the reason you kind of, because you said most companies usually pick one.
Yeah, it's actually safer to just pick the one niche because you get really super good in one niche.
Okay.
But because I have ADHD and I don't stop learning, it actually has helped me to do both. It has allowed me to understand a lot more and a lot. I get to utilize both sides of the law that most people don't, so I can understand both sides. There's been a hindrance, but it's been really good for someone like me. So it's been really, I like what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah, no, I feel like that might almost be like an advantage. You have that unique perspective
I,
of both
I take it as
sides.
an advantage, but it could be a disadvantage. If someone was to come to me and say, "Hey Jeff, I'm gonna go to college. I am in college. I'm about to graduate. What should I do?" I would say, think about what you want. Pick the avenue. Stick with it and learn everything you can, and be the best that you can be in that avenue. Don't do what I did because there's way too much information. You need to know a lot more, and it's a lot more difficult to stay in all these industries and be top of your class. So, but that's my advice to most people that do what I do.
Yeah, no, for sure. Have
Yeah.
you noticed like a tipping point in like revenue size, team size, like when that kind of hesitation starts to fade, when you're like, okay, we can get more specific?
Well, if someone doesn't really know what they're doing, they want to come out, I would tell them to go in the construction industry. As for the companies and the clients, I find that smaller companies think they can get away with a lot more, where companies that start seeing their workers' comp, people start getting hurt, or people start getting issues, or they finally start trying to get the big contracts. That's when they decide that they're going to get safety, or they have to, or they're forced to get safety. So that's usually what happens with me.
Okay, okay, makes sense. How does, having more of a broad kind of positioning or niche complicate like marketing, sales, or I don't
Hmm.
know, content creation if you do any of that?
Yeah, when it comes to marketing, it's already a horror because nobody wants you. I mean, I'm like insurance, nobody wants me. But when it comes to a marketing thing, it's easy to market, say, hey, I'm just going after construction. I'm just going because you can just market and spend all your time, your energy on one industry and zoom in on that industry. And then you also can zoom in on a specific type of industry within the industry. So in other words, like in the construction industry, I can say, oh, I just want roofers, or I just want people that work on the ground level. You could just, I didn't do that. I encompassed myself with so much. But in that fact, it's also helped me because I'm the only person in the state of Oklahoma that teaches swing stage scaffolding because everybody else is afraid. So that's what I do is I niche on the outlining stuff that people don't do either. So I can do all the things they do, but I also have that niche of the crazy stuff that people don't want to touch. It's a little bit more difficult, but that's where I so your marketing thing, it's hard to market when you're all over the map. If you're niching, then it's easier to market. It's easier for your marketer to mark you. And your marketing is totally different than, say, anybody else. Your marketing is going to be more LinkedIn and more Facebook, more places where you can talk to people that you need to. It's a little bit more, and you don't do TV ads or news ads, so you have to look at a different way of marketing yourself.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
It's B2B, right? So,
Yeah, it's B2B, and people things like this, what we're doing right now, actually gets me more exposure, more positive exposure than me throwing money at a commercial or a Google ad. People that want me are looking for me. They're not gonna pick up the first person that comes up with an advertising, because they're serious. They want you. They're going to look for the person that fits them. So they're actually going to do research. Unlike me buying a TV, I can do my research online, quick research. I can take an ad, see what's out there, and that's what you're going to buy. People, they're going to be spending lots and lots of money, so they're going to want the right person for that job. So they're going to do a lot more research than the average buying a product type thing.
100%. So do you notice that leads kind of come to you then, or how do you gain leads?
Things like this, going to referral groups, staying up on LinkedIn, doing videos, showing people what I am. So when they're ready to look at it, they keep seeing me. They keep seeing me. So they'll when they need me or they feel like they want me, they'll actually see me and they'll start asking questions. They'll start doing their research and they'll see the quality that I give them. So they'll contact me that way.
Okay, makes sense. Do you do any cold outreach at all, and how's that kind of worked for you?
I don't like cold outreach. I never did. It doesn't work. People, if they're not, they have to be. And this is a different industry. If they have to have you, they're gonna look for you. If they don't need you, or they don't want you, or they don't think they want you, they're just gonna zip it out. So getting on AI and throwing out a million emails, it's a waste of my time, waste of my energy.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, I'd like to kind of point the lens inward now and look at Boston safety. How do you decide which opportunities align with your strategic niche and which to kind of decline and pass up?
I look at the companies, and most of the companies, I mean, if it's just teaching a class, I don't really do any research on the company. I'm going to help anybody out. I'm the kind of person that if you're reaching out, you need help. Now, if I keep you after I get you fixed, that's between us on how you want to deal with. If I go into a place and they're just doing it, I'm just filling out a form, I won't stick around. If you're willing to let me come in and build your culture, help you really actually do safety, then I'm going to stick with you and I'm going to make it worth your while.
Okay. Is there one kind of metric that you track to confirm that your positioning is resonating? How do you
No,
measure
actually,
that?
I go by how the attitude is. I can look at their clients. When you walk through their facilities, it doesn't matter if it's on a job site or actual building, and you see if people are like when I walk on a job site, I watch these safety guys walk on, and all of a sudden everybody just scatters like roaches when turning on a light, or they stop working. I walk on a job site, my guys keep working. My guys don't stop. They'll talk to me. They'll tell me what's going on. I know I'm making a difference because they're not afraid of me. I'm there for a resource, not well, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. That does not work. That approach is the worst approach you can have. When I go on the job site, the guys are like, "Hey, man, we had this issue. This is what's going on." They're telling me, they're asking me help them make a better job site because I've resonated with them. I've talked to them. They're listening to what I have to say. I'm listening, but the first thing I do, like I said, I want to hear from you. Tell me how I can help you, not how I'm not going to tell you what I can do for you. I need to know what I can do to help you. So that opens it up so that they go, okay, this guy's willing to listen, and I do listen. So that's how I resonate with those kind of guys because I've been there. I've been on that. I've been on the construction sites. I know what it's like to wear a harness at 8 degrees. I know what it's like to wear a harness at 110 in the shade. So they can relate to them, and that's what they like,
Yeah,
and
that's
that's how I
nice.
know. Yeah,
Great. Um, do you have like an example of where you said no to a project or a class?
I won't say no to a class because a class is a class.
Okay.
It's. But I've had clients that were I wouldn't even call them really clients. They just don't want to listen. And when it was time, I said, listen, you guys aren't, I'm not making you guys, I'm not doing anything for you. You guys are not doing this. Maybe we should just let it go because, you're losing money by having me come in here. So I make it look like I let them fire me for the right reasons. So that way they don't get a bad taste in their mouth for safety, but they don't really want you there. So you're kind of let them make the decision. So that way I'm the bad guy anyways. That's what I tell companies. Let me be the bad guy when I deal with their employees. Um, so losing them, I let them lose me. It's
Okay.
easier that way.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, kind of pivoting again for
It's okay.
for a boutique firm leader, kind of anyone that's listening today, what low risk experiment can they run this quarter to test either like their first niche or a new niche without disrupting existing revenue?
What do you mean trying to hire me or if they want to see if they need safety? That's easy. If you look at your workers' comp and your workers' comp is high, your modifier. Look at your modifier. If it's high, if you're having a lot of workers' comp, if you're saying to yourself, man, how do I stop these guys from getting hurt? You probably need a safety guide. If OSHA shows up, you're running red flags. If you had more than one, if you had 8 OSHA fine, you probably should have safety anyways. Most of my people, they go to a job site or they go somewhere and they have to meet certain specifications, iOS or ISN net, iOS 9000. If you're dealing with Europe, it's iOS. Yeah, iOS. It's ISN net if it's in the United States. Even in Canada, if you're doing business in the United States, it's going to be ISN net. If you're dealing business with Europe, it's iOS, iOS 9000. If you're dealing with those people, you need to have safety. Then don't try to do it on your own. Really, don't lie to them because they will catch you. And you don't want to lose that business because once you receive business from these agencies, you don't want to lose it because that's a lot of money because it takes you a long time to get into those. And those were those, there's a lot of respect when you're part of those organizations. And if you're going to spend hours and hours and hours to get in there and spend money, then why would you not do the safety that they require? So that's the kind of people I'm looking at. And then, like I said, if you had any safety issues or you had a workers' comp, you probably need to look at, do you need safety? You probably do. I guarantee it.
Yeah, safety is important.
Yes. And it's the same. Okay. The only difference is people go, what's the difference between Canada and the United States? Just the way it's just that you guys are separated by province, 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 but even every province is basically follows the same exact rules as OSHA. They just have different numbers and worded differently, but you can find the same rules and regulations you find in the United States, you'll find in Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. They're all super similar. The only one that's more strict and harder is the UK and Europe. They're a little bit more stricter than the United States. But again, like I says, all I got to do is look at your province and I say, hey, this is the same thing as it is in OSHA. Same thing with New Zealand and Australia. So safety in the last 30, 40 years has gotten really serious among all the countries, all the good countries in the world.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So do you
Yeah.
serve globally then, your clients?
No, I have helped people in Canada.
Okay.
I have no problem with helping in Canada, but mostly the United States. That's all I do. Mostly in the Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri. But I have clients from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast of the United States. I don't have a problem. I have my biggest clients out of Atlanta, Georgia, and I travel all over the country for them. But if someone needs some help and they want to call me, yeah, I can help you in Canada.
Awesome. Okay, we're all gonna wrap up here. I have a quick kind of rapid fire, just
Okay.
first thing off your head, answer quick 20, 30-second. Ready?
Yep.
Is the biggest myth about niching?
Biggest niche. That's top difficult. That niche is where you're gonna put a good thing. That every I don't care what job it is, niche is the best way to go because that is exactly you're putting yourself in a great position for that.
Okay. What is one metric that owners should monitor before and after specializing?
That's definitely look at your modifier in the safety industry. It's a modifier, modifier, modifier. You want to get that as low as possible so that way your insurance goes down.
Okay, amazing. What about more kind of generally, like for the other people who are watching this that might not be in the safety industry?
Oh gosh. How people react to what you're doing. You could tell. Just watch what they're doing. And you go in and you see one attitude, and over a period of time, you start seeing how they react when you're there. And it doesn't matter what industry. Just look at how they act when you come in from when you started to say 6 months, year, 2 years down the line.
Okay, great. Finally, what is one safety lesson that doubles as a business lesson?
Safety lesson as a business. My biggest free advice is if you do have a workers' comp, do yourself a favor, go to the hospital, go to the clinic, and tell them you're going to pay for it. One, you'll get a better payment, even if it's going to be a workers' comp, pay for it so that way that person's not sitting at home injured and they see the old, commercial guy comes out, lawyer says, hey, I can help you. These guys, they're upset, they're mad. The lawsuit's not going to help anyone. You're going to get the same amount of money if you have a lawsuit, if you don't have a lawsuit. So the best thing to do to avoid a lawsuit, and this is coming from a workers' comp attorney, just start paying it. Even if you have to make payments, you'll get your money back from workers' comp. You as a business owner should just make the payments, get it over with, and 6 months to a year, you'll get your money back. It's well worth it. You say, well, I don't really have a lot of money to do that. Well, can you afford $5,000 from an attorney or 10,000 or 25,000 just to end up paying the same amount? You're going to pay the 25,000 and the insurance is still going to pay the workers' comp, but it's going to be he has done land. So it's up to you on how you want to deal with it.
Yeah, for sure. High risk, no reward.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jeff.
Thank you.
Terrific insights. Where can listeners connect with you or learn more about Boston safety and compliance?
Well, I'm at bostonsafetyok.com up on the website. You can contact me at area code 405-999-0348. I am literally 24 hours a day. You need some help and you laugh, but yes, I have been called out on some odd times during the middle of the night. I've been called on a Christmas Day. Why? Because
Wow.
safety doesn't stop. So I'm here to help people. If you're in my area, or even if you're not in my area, do not handle an OSHA violation by yourself. We can do that via phone through your OSHA office, so that way you don't get the issues that they'll add more stuff to you. Don't do it alone. You wouldn't go to court alone. Don't go against OSHA alone. It's just not worth it.
That's great. I like that parallel.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if today's conversation sparked ideas, share the episode, tag Jeff with your takeaway. Until next time, I'm Jaden. This is the Pipeline People Podcast. Thank you so much.